Hey everyone, Maximus here with the Ohio Haunters Association, and we are live from Distracted Haunted House in Bowling Green, Ohio. Thank you for everyone that was able to come, and thank you for everyone that's tuning in now. All right, I think we'll get started here. Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone. Our first Ohio Haunters Association meeting of 2025. What a fantastic turnout. I know that we have not had a meeting in the Northwest in many, many years, and I'm sorry about that, but the wonderful people of Distracted Haunted House has opened their doors to us, and we are so appreciative to them. So thank you, everyone, for coming. Big thanks to Scott Francis, our host this day. Scott's very popular. Thank you to all the actors who dressed up. You guys look amazing. They are available for selfies, and they will autograph anything that you want. So make sure that you say hi to them. And they came on their own free time to do this, so I really appreciate them for doing that. Thank you, Adam from Haunted Hoorah, for being our speaker today and sharing your knowledge with us. I really, really appreciate it. Remember to visit our merch table. We have magnets, patches, raffle. Many people have donated items. There's now, I didn't even expect this. There's prop weapons now. There's masks, jack-o'-lanterns. There's also jugs of fog fluid for sale as well if anybody needs some of that. But make sure you visit them. Also, April is still doing the 50-50 raffle. We will do the raffles after the haunt tour. So we're going to do our announcements. We're going to have the speaker, then we're going to do the haunt tour, then we'll conclude with the raffle. I would like to invite Scott up here with me to share about Distracted Haunted House. He would like his crew with him as well.
Come on, guys. Yeah, everyone. I just wanted all of everyone that's here today with us just to be up here so you guys can see them, so that you can get an idea, who's here with us. And later on, if you want to, ask some of them questions or whatever, you'll be able to identify them a little bit easier. So really appreciate all you coming out. This is our first Ohio Haunters Association meeting, so please take it easy on us. Love what they do, just haven't had the opportunity, just as the busy, everything that we have going on, just haven't got a chance to be at one yet. For me, probably for like a lot of you haunters, might have started off as a home haunt or whatever. Like years ago, before I started here, I I spent many years researching the haunt industry, and it's what would it take to get into it? What would it be like? And then all that stuff you read and everything, yeah, it's great. But until you really jump in and do it, you don't really know. And I know a lot of you know what I mean by that. But so I spent probably a good 6 months building this prop prior to owning a haunted house, and, put my heart into it, my passion, everything. And so that first year we opened, we put the prop in a room. And it was really odd room because of an old milkman room. We had stuff sprayed on the walls, and, we were still figuring stuff out. And, so we opened up probably within the first 2 hours. The actor in that room had totally destroyed the prop that I spent 6 months working on. So that was when I realized, partly, but it's a story that I remember, but it's when I realized that really what the haunted house is about, it's about the people that are involved in it. And that's why it's really cool that you all are here with us, and I'm just happy that we'll get a chance to meet all of you today and share a little bit of what we do. what we do is not perfect. You know, I don't think anything in the haunt industry is. We certainly don't have the big animatronics and the huge amount of space and, you know, all those other things that, you know, we're envious of some of you guys. But what we do have is we have really great, passionate people, and we have, you know, the ability to work on this year round and to come together year round, which we do a lot of. So hopefully you'll see that and you'll appreciate that. And we look forward to spending today with you. The tour itself, we're going to try to break you guys into groups of like 6 to 10. Might have to be 10 just based on the numbers. And we'll send someone from our group with you guys just because we're not going to have actors in there doing the scaring or whatever. We'll just have someone with you. We'll have all the haunt lights on, the sounds and everything going for that. If you choose, you can stick around after when everyone gets through, and then we'll turn the house lights on and you can do a second tour if you like. So that's how that'll work. So. All right. Well, thanks so much. And we'll turn the show over to the professionals.
Scott. Hey, Scott. There is no such thing as professional when it comes to us. We are haunters. There's no professional.
Professional's not scary.
I'm just now finding out Pyle has a mic for himself.
Yours breaks all the time.
I didn't approve it. I also have an addendum to my meeting notes. Thank you to my hot ass wife who woke up super early on a Saturday morning for this meeting. She was also a rock star on the multiple hour drive up here to Bowling Green and wrote down the meeting agenda for me, even though the efforts were in vain because I am the worst and refused to get an iPhone like the rest of the majority of the world. So the meeting notes did not transfer properly to my phone. I apologize for my badness. In conclusion, she is the best. I'm the worst. Have a great day. So, thank you, my love. All right. Okay. So, the board of the Ohio Honor Association, I serve as president right now. We also have Nikki's Pong there. No, you got married.
Yes, I did.
Robert.
No.
No, what? Hook. Yes.
No.
Wow.
I knew that one.
Whoops. I'm sorry.
You know, if you had
He's-
an iPhone, that would have been.
Thanks, Luke. Nikki has been on the board for many years. Keith Newsom also. And we have 2 new members of the board. Ryan and Kelly recently stepped down. They've gone through a lot in their lives. They are moving, new house, new property, new projects that they're getting into. So they wanted to be sure that the board was watched by those that can dedicate the time necessary to give it the love that it needs. And we found 2 perfect individuals for that role. One of them is Pyle Hazard.
I knew that was coming.
Pyle, owner of Chainer's Field of Screams. He was the whole reason the OHA got back into doing the meetings and everything several years ago. He would call and he would call and he would call. And anyone who has made the mistake of giving him your phone number knows that you will be called and called. So we're here because of you, Pyle. So thank you, and now for being part of the board as well. Do you have any words? You have a mic.
About time.
The other is Sean Regal, right there. Sean, who operates Spookery. Now, is it officially Loveland or is it Milford?
Yes. It depends on what part of the property you're on.
You don't understand. I've been trying to tell people for years about Spookery, and I keep saying Milford, Lovelandish.
Our part of the property is Loveland, the other part of the property is in Milford.
Well, that doesn't help. Sean makes Cincinnati. We'll go with Cincinnati. Northeast, East Cincinnati. Sean is a master of making a lot of props. He does things that I haven't seen anywhere else. And the event is more children based, but it is also really scary. He knows how to do so much. He also made this, which hangs in my office, and I'm a probation officer, so I get to just make my office look however I want, and they just have to deal with it. So I have a bunch of scary stuff on the wall given to me by Sean. So Sean is great at what he does, and I'm really proud for him to serve on the board as well. So welcome, Sean. Okay. So we went over that. So what is the Ohio Haunt Association? We are an association that aims to strengthen the haunt community in Ohio, whether it is pro haunts, whether it's actors, makeup artists, home haunters, prop builders, anyone involved in the haunt industry. There's a lot of paranormal people on the OHA page. So there's a little bit of a crossover there. They're welcome as well. But this is more geared for the haunted attraction industry as a whole. And we try to do this by having meetings like this. We want you all to meet each other. We want you to network. We want you to take each other's numbers, names, meet on Facebook, something. Because when things come up, it's great to have people that you can talk to, people that you can ask questions about, whether it's actor recruitment or dealing with insurances or dealing with your local village or municipality. Permits, all the like. There's so much that goes into operating a haunted attraction, and there are people involved in the Ohio Haunters Association that is willing to share what they know about it to help you along your way. And we hope that you make yourselves available as well. There are people who come to me and they say, well, we're thinking about opening a haunted attraction industry. What are some things that we should know? And I just kind of laugh. And I say, look, like I tell them usually to tell me more about what they're looking for. And then I help them find someone who knows way more than I do. I'm just an actor, actually, in case you guys weren't sure. I just act. But I love this industry. I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm proud to see everything that you guys do. So we have meetings, we have education. We try to do promotions. When we go to events, we like to hand out these lists of haunted attractions all throughout Ohio. And you got to, Pyle has been there at a Cleveland with me and a Circleville. We just have these lists and people are like, haunted houses? And this is in May or July. And people are just so excited about it. And they love to know where the haunts are. And they love to know when they're happening. So we try to promote the haunted industry as much as we can. So if you're having an off-season event, you should let us know. Speaking of which, Akron, you have a Valentine's Day haunt coming up. Yes.
February 8th, 14th, and 15th.
So Akron Haunted Schoolhouse, the 8th, 14th, and 15th. Fear Columbus also has one. I think it's Valentine's Day weekend. Hell's Dungeon also has one in Dayton, Ohio. 14th and 15th.
Yep, and the murder mystery dinner on the 15th.
With a murder mystery dinner on the 15th. So special events coming that way. Is there any others that I'm missing? Those are the only three I was aware of. Well, so let's see. So who is here today? We have Channersfield Screams. We have a representative from Hell's Dungeon as well. The great people of Distracted is here. A lot of Field of Fear folks came out. Appreciate you guys coming. I know there was some Panic in the Pines that were here as well. Yes, Spookery. Dent Schoolhouse. Scary on Cherry. Yes, Kenton, Ohio. Awesome. Yes, it is a fantastic name. Kester's. 'Tis the season. Haunted Woods. Who else do we have? J&J Field of Screams. Thank you guys for coming out. Carnage. My house. Forsaken Forest as well. Love that you guys came out. Am I missing anyone? Haunted Hoorah, of course. Yes. What's that? Lewisburg Haunted Cave. Yes. Appreciate you guys coming out. Hammer Brothers are also here. Mohican Haunted Schoolhouse is here.
Sydney's here.
Sydney Haunted Woods are here as well. Yes. Outstanding Performance Award winner. Speaking of which, if there are any Outstanding Performance Award winners here, make sure that you, and you don't have your certificate, make sure you come see me or Pyle at some point. The mailing system hasn't been great. We've been getting some of the certificates back and they've been bent, they've been destroyed. So we're trying to remake them, but we have them up here. Even if you're at a haunt where an award winner is at, and you're willing to help us get the certificate to them, come see us so that we can get the award to them. But let's recognize the winners of this year Outstanding Performance Award. Who's here? You're here? Yeah, you. Stand up if you're a winner this year. Be recognized. Congratulations. You are the ones that go above and beyond for your haunts, and I appreciate the haunts wanting to recognize you. So thank you. Okay, so now we will recap 2024. Even though we didn't hold any meetings, that might have been my fault. I chose to get married, and then I chose to buy a house, and then I chose to bring things into the house. What?
You know what's next.
Well, we're working on it.
And then
Though we didn't have any meetings, we did attend the Midwest Haunters Convention. We had a booth there. Jordan Jones from Brimstone Haunt taught a class, and it went really well. We showed at booth. When we go to events like these, we are trying to tell people about the haunted industry. Even though they're in Chicago, we're trying to drive them to Ohio to say, hey, come to Ohio. You're going somewhere. You know, any of the big municipalities, there's plenty of haunts there. There's plenty of haunts surrounding the area, and we're trying to get them to visit. So it was a great event. Pyle, Sean was there. It was great time in Chicago. We also had the Halloween in July event. That one was a lot of fun. There were several people who dressed up in character, went around interacting with the crowd in Circleville, Ohio, as well as where it was. Halloween in July event. We got to show there. Great time that we had there as well. This year, the Outstanding Performance Awards, we had 55 recipients. The first year we did it, we had around 32. And then the second year was around 40. This last year, 55 haunted attractions recognized someone. And that is a fantastic, what's the word? Response, a fantastic response. Honestly, you know, if we could brag about Ohio for a second, I can't think of any other state association that would have had as many haunted attractions reach out like they did, have a response, and recognize this many actors, only in Ohio. So I appreciate you all. Big hand for all of you for that. We also put out the third edition of the Haunted House list. We put it out, thousands of shares, thousands of views. This time, I tried to do something a little different this year. I tried to find like local happenings pages. So like near Cincinnati, there's a town called Harrison. There's a page called Harrison Happenings. And I shared it on there. And that list got more shares than the one from the Ohio Haunters page. I don't know how that happened. It just did. So in the future, what I would hope to see is, you know, when you see the list, share it, let people know where the haunted attractions are, when they're happening, the ticket prices, all that kind of stuff. I am hounding haunt owners every year before the haunt season opening. It's like, hey, I need your information. I'm looking for your information. Some folks are waiting for, you know, last minute to get me that, which is fine. But I think the haunt owners are starting to get sick of me asking them about their information. And then like, hey, now recognize one of your actors. They hear from me a lot throughout the year. So I wanted to, did anybody have any thoughts on the haunt list? Do you feel like the list is adequate for what it is trying to do, supposed to do? Any thoughts on it? Because it takes a long time to put together. Like I'm visiting every single haunted house site. And I'm not talking about just any kind of big haunt. I'm talking about the tiny, smallest of haunts that I can find ends up on the list. But, usually it's about where it is, the dates, the ticket prices, all that kind of stuff. Yes.
Where as a haunted house reviewer, where is that?
What?
As
The
a haunted
list?
house reviewer, where's the list to find it?
The list is on the Ohio Haunters Association Facebook group. So it's a Facebook group, is the Ohio Haunters Association, and we post it there, and that's usually where it gets shared out of. We also, like I said, I will post it on other group pages now to try to see if it will happen, like Cincinnati events, Columbus events, anything like that. But, you guys know more about your local areas and where would be a good place to post those. So if you would like to repost the list, you can always message me and I will email you the original of it, because if you download from Facebook and repost it, the quality of the image diminishes every time it is downloaded or reposted. So if you want the original list, you can always contact me to send it to you so that you can post it where you think it is. But the big post will be on the Ohio Haunters Association Facebook group. Any other thoughts on the list? Yes, Nick.
Customer this year, I've absolutely loved it. Like, it's let me find different haunts in different areas, different weekends out of it, and it's been great to build a weekend around a big haunt we know and find a couple locals around it that are smaller haunts. So I love it. I share it everywhere I can.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
Hey, Max. Hey, when I went with Max up to Cleveland area, and we brought this list, and then once again, this is the list that we bring to different places that are like Circleville. The information you guys give us is what we put on that list. So when he gets a hold of you guys and says, hey, is there any changes? Make sure you take the time to look at it, make sure everything's correct. Yeah, it's in the off season, but people kind of see what your ticket prices were if that's on that paper. That way people can look at it and say, oh, okay, well, this is this price. I can hit this place, this place, this place. And they're trying to do a budget thing. A lot of haunts this year seeing a lot of different places that were trying to figure out how they could manage their money to go this haunt to this haunt, this haunt. This list kind of gets a idea of look at this, look at this, look at this. All this information people are looking at just to figure out what they can do. And in our industry, we are absolutely trying to figure out how we can get somebody out of a theater to come see an actual live action show. And that was one of the biggest things. If you guys give that information to him, he can get it out, because he runs right to that line where he knows a couple of haunts are about ready to open up. This year, Friday the 13th of September, how many people were open on that day, their opening day? There was a decent amount. So that is something to really think about when you guys are hearing Max go, hey, I need this information. Yeah, it's just we're trying to promote the haunt house industry as much as possible. And I'm a haunter. I am also a haunt owner, but I will absolutely take that list and I will post it on my Facebook, or I will do this just to help everyone in this association. It's not just for me. It is for all of us.
Speaking of the list, I am going to throw thanks to the Scare Factor, just because honestly, like of all the haunt lists out there, the Scare Factor keeps theirs the most updated, like literally. So I'm trying. I mean, you guys are popping up everywhere, and that's the fun part of kind of making the list, is seeing the new haunts that pop up, and then having a little bit of heartbreak seeing when a haunt chooses not to continue on. But Ohio is still leading the country in the number of haunts, so I hope to see that continue.
California might have lost a couple with that fire.
Too soon, Pyle.
Sorry.
There's a vacancy on the board.
Good one last. I know, right? And for a podcast.
So, Okay, so with the addition of some new board members, we are looking to possibly get into some more projects for the coming year. Each board member talked about a project that they wanted to get involved with, and I told them they were going to have to talk about it. So who wants to go first? Sean is.
Hey, Sean.
Want me to come to you, buddy, or?
We can bring a microphone to you.
No, I'm okay. I can walk, I just can't stand. Or I can stand, but I just can't walk, one of the two. All right, yes. Well, as he said, my name is Sean Regal. I'm with Spookery, which is out of Dan Beer Council. It's actually been put on by the Boy Scouts of America for the local council in the Cincinnati area. But beyond that, I've actually been now haunting for about 40 years. I started off at 13 years old, decorating my mom and dad's front yard, making all my own props and everything else. And as I tell people, this is well before YouTube. So I had to make it up as I went. That being said, because I have made so many things, what I like to do is actually start working with some more like make and take events. So I may be reaching out to some people in some areas so we can do things like, the skeleton corpsing, tombstone making and foam carving, things like that. So I'd really like to start working with some of the home haunters and even the professional haunters who may want to, either share their ideas and how they do things and be able to make the home haunters a little more, well, as I'm going to say, a little more welcome into this group, because again, as we noticed, there's a lot of professionals here. But this is for Ohio haunters. This is everybody. We want to start trying to work on some things for the home haunters to get involved in. So watch out for my posts. I may be reaching out to some folks and see what we can do to put some of those events together.
I know Make It Takes were talked about a while. I know Cleveland Haunt Club likes to do some, and I know Motor City does. I just don't know how to make anything, but Sean does. So that is why I like this. I like this great initiative for some Make It Takes. So thank you, Sean.
I got fired, remember?
We'll put you on probation.
Oh, that's even funnier.
So I've actually put a lot of thought into it, and one of the things is, as I've went through and talked to people, giving out these awards, communication is the biggest thing. Talking about different stuff, learning about different stuff, and I kind of want to travel and go to see you guys. If your haunt's running or if your haunt's not running, I do want to come into your areas and just meet you guys and communicate with you guys and see if there's some kind of communication that we can get together. And one of the biggest things is, in my area, I have a couple of different haunts that we have a nice little buddy system. And some of the haunts have absolutely told me, it would be great to get to work with other haunts. And that is something great. And other haunts kind of like being secretive. And that's perfectly fine. But as you guys go on, I kind of want to get to know you guys and work in your guys' areas on trying to figure out, hey, there was a talk a while back about possibly putting out a paper or a file or something that give information about insurance companies and a couple other things that, you guys might actually need to operate. So that would be part of the communication, trying to figure out how we can get information from one haunt to another haunt to be accessible. And that's kind of why I want to work on this year and see if it's something that you guys, anybody have a better idea? Because, if you know me, I can talk.
Yeah.
And apparently say the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing. I just want to communicate with you guys because that's one of the biggest things. You guys absolutely are a great group. And if we can help each other along, I think that would be a wonderful thing. But insurance is a key factor. And where do you guys get your props? What things have you learned from them? Just communication.
Thank you, Bob. Let's see. Where's Nikki? Hi, Nikki. You ready?
Sure.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Nikki. I've been in the industry for a while. I do a yard display and I do a yard display and I've worked at Hoorah for 3 years now, I believe. So I would like to see more home haunts get involved. We have a ton of people in the professional industry involved, but we don't have that many super active people in the home haunts involved. I know Cleveland Haunt Club does a thing where they do a night where they have like a list of home haunts or yard displays that they all go visit. And I'd like to see if we can maybe set something like that up where like in areas where there's a lot of home haunts, we have a zone captain that talks to the home haunts and sets up like, hey, on this date during the season, we're going to go through and see these different areas, start at X time, and then just hit each one. Like I know Marion has 4 or 5 off the top of my head of yard displays and home haunts that would all within 5 or 10 minutes of each other. So I'd like to do something where we could see more home haunts get involved.
Well, I think that's one thing we've talked about for a few years now is how to engage the home haunter better. A lot of home haunters are off the grid. Some of them would prefer to stay that way, but we do want to engage them more. And so like, for example, if in the middle of season in October on a Wednesday, I would say, hey, I'm going to go to Amelia, Ohio, and go see Nightmare, and then go to Bethel, and then go to Pine Bluff. And, you know, there's several home haunts just right there that we can visit. And I think that's what Nikki's talking about. But this would be a little bit more regional. You know, hey, we're in this area, we're going to see these guys. So if this is something that you as a home haunter would like to be involved with, make sure, you know, to contact Nikki to say, hey, we would love to have a group come visit the haunt in the middle of the week or something like that, because we're busy Fridays and Saturday nights often. But you know, if this is something that we can do, yes, Luke.
Well, as an addendum to that, it might be a good way to promote that and also make it a bit more aware to home haunters in general. If there was an audio video component, if you could actually produce a piece on it, and then, you know, that would go out amongst the home haunter community and say, hey, I can have them come to mine and just do a little interview piece.
Yeah, I'm always willing to film something and talk, or, you know, whoever's there, or yeah, I would like, you know, if there was more of a component to it, to where, because that's one thing I would like on the page more, is I would like home haunters to share their projects, things that they're building. You know, if Jeff would like to post, you know, a monster that he's working on the page, you're more than welcome to do that. Home haunters, you know, there's a gentleman, Gregory, in Loveland, Ohio, who works on like cannons and things like that for his home haunt, and they look amazing. So if you're working on a project, share it. Share what you're doing. You know, that the Ohio Haunters page is for that. We want to see what you're doing. And when we see what you're doing, you know, people can connect better with you. So I think this will be an effort to engage the home haunter more, for sure. And we can add a video component to it as well. Gotta find my notes. Okay. So my project that I wanted, besides the list and the Outstanding Performance Award, I was thinking about when a customer visits a haunt, after they're done with the haunt, afterwards, sometimes they'll think, I want to go again. Sometimes they will think, maybe, you know, where else can I go? I had an idea. I didn't, and I wanted to kind of put this out there. And since you guys are here, maybe you can share with me if you think it's bad or good, which is fine either way. What if there was a little bit of what if we had a map that after somebody went through the haunt, at the end of the haunt afterwards, it could say, thank you for coming. Go, you can now visit such and such and such. But the only places listed on there would be other places that are participating in it. So for example, Chainers buys into it. They're on the map. And you would get a vinyl map or a vinyl banner or something like that. And we go through Chainers, and when you're done with Chainers, thanks. Now you can go visit, and then it has on the map, here is Hammer Brothers. Down here is Sydney Haunted Woods. Here in Dayton is Hell's Dungeon,
On town hall.
Haunted Town Hall, or something like that. Yes. Yeah, that's kind of what I would like. I mean, you could say it like that, or Butler County's Donut Trail, which I've participated in too many times. Yes, that's exactly what I'm kind of looking for.
This is outside of my area of expertise, but I would say that it probably wouldn't be too difficult to make basically a haunt trip planner, like basically a website or something like that. They literally be able to plug in, okay, I'm going to this haunt, my ticket's at 8:00 or whatever, and then that would be able to generate where you could go in 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever.
That is also outside of my
I
expertise.
understand that, but it would be something that maybe is worth looking into. With all these great minds.
Yes.
Someone's got something.
No, I think getting into the website world is one thing that I've thought about more. I just haven't quite, done it myself. But in my mind, I thought of, okay, I'm a customer that just finished a haunt, and here's a list of some other places I can go to.
We talked about putting up you know how when you visit like a nature trail and they have all the pamphlets and stuff? We've talked about doing that, and then any local ones that want to participate can give us their coupon or flyer or whatever and put it into the slots with a banner of where they're at.
Mm-hmm. And this effort from between, I think it was Mohican, Blood Prison, and Trail of Nightmares, they did this kind of cross promoting before, and that's kind of where the idea came from, is being able to trade stuff like that.
So we did it, the first year we opened, we actually had the Jail of Terror and the Great American Haunt, when they were open, we had a bring your ticket stub to our haunt, get $5 off or something of that nature. We did have banners and flyers. It didn't do as well as, I guess the marketing wasn't there. We didn't do as well as it should have to benefit all the haunts that, we had. Now, at our haunt at the end of this year, we did have a video, and it said, "Thank you for coming to Carnage. These are some other local, haunts that you could go to. Hell's Dungeon, Changers, Mohican was on there. We had a number of, Hoorah was on there, a number of haunts pictures would flash up and their locations and stuff. And we also have a Friends of Carnage and People's Flyers that were up on as well. To be honest with you, I didn't hear a big feedback on that. So I think it's an awesome idea, and we all need to work together. Those who are like-minded and want to build the industry. It just we need somebody, and I ain't that person, to come with a marketing, how to market that beneficially for everybody. And I do like the idea of the map or a checkoff list because that would be, that's awesome. So I think it can be done.
Right. That's why I would like to do so, even if it just benefits a little bit.
Hi, my name is Caitlin. I do tax a little bit. We had our first year at the Haunted Armory.
In St. Mary's.
Yes.
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you. We haven't built a website so we're a charitable haunt. Last year was our first year. We worked with another organization who actually ran our haunt, but we've been doing, I have 4 websites for other things. I can volunteer my time to help build a website for you. I have the experience with marketing. I can help with marketing or whatever ads you want. This is our first year. I think we started advertising in September. Very late. We had between 300 and 400 people come every night.
Nice.
For 2 weeks. And we sold out our last weekend.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
So I'd be happy to offer that time if you just want to send me a message, let me know what you're looking for, and like interactive maps, even having it to where they could click on per county, and then they could click that they'd be interested in purchasing tickets, and it would reroute them to whoever your private website is. If they click on the Montrose Association link to buy tickets at Hammer Brothers, it would take them straight to the Hammer Brothers ticket checkout page. So it would read options where they can actually purchase the tickets. The only thing is making sure usually website service fees are like $16 to $20. But we could also send out monkey chip emails for surveys to everyone who has been on the website, which would help retain customers.
You and I will be talking more. Yes. So I think, yeah, there's a lot of different ways that one can go through it. I think having a website where people can go to, because when we're at events, people are asking about websites, but we pretty much just exist as a Facebook group, but also interpersonally through meetings and everything. So I think, a website in general will be really helpful. I just want my mind has always gone to getting more customers through your doors, because that's ultimately, the goal. And I'm trying to think of different ways that one can do that. And I think that in a way that helps promote, like, hey, we're part of an association, but hey, we're also care about the whole industry as a whole.
I think so I tried something similar where we did like the discount coupons with other haunts in the area at a different haunt. I think to make it work for every haunt involved, I think it almost needs to be like have an incentive to buy at every haunt, and if you can prove you bought it at every haunt, there's a t-shirt at the end. I find like people get really into that. They want to hit all of them and complete the trail and get the trophies. And I think that's how you get them to interact with all the haunts on that list.
Yeah, and it would just involve a little bit of extra, like saying, hey, to this haunt, like, hey, if there was this, like the Butler County Donut Trail, it's like a passport.
Exactly.
And every haunt and every donut place has their own individualized stamp. And it's like, and the haunt having to remember. Yeah, I know. And they have wonderful words like scrumptious and words I love. So there are things that they do. And I thought about that as well. And, I think the association would be willing to do something like that, where it's like, hey, if a person's able to visit all these haunts and submit the passport, they get a free t-shirt or something like that. I think, that'd be a great way to support. We would just have to, know which haunts want to participate. But then at the same time, if it turned out that like 20, 30 haunts wanted to do it, how do we make it manageable for the customer? So it may turn regional, but there's many different ways that we can go about it. This is just a project I'm working on right now. Luckily, we're in January. We have a while yet still. I thank you guys for your feedback on that. I don't know if I missed anyone there. So, Keith.
Hi, everybody. I'm Keith.
Not really. I'm more of the education guy. I do training. I worked with Midwest Hunters Convention for 10 years. I was the body art director, the loading director. I've helped out Carnage. We've built our own places, Terra Park, Scaratorium, True American Haunt. What else we do? Gray Matter. And but anyway, enough of that. We look for people who are talented in their own field. Like today, we have Adam. If there's somebody in here that is good at what you do, we don't want an infomercial. We want training. And if you are in your own haunt and you have people that that can do the job, have your people train people. A little bit of training can go a long way. The people that we've been with and I've been with, if you sit down and you show them how character development or how to act, how to scare from the left, do studies, figure out where you're going and what you want your people to do. I always say the only makeup, if you're doing makeup, the only skin I want to see is either hanging out your mouth or you rip it open with your flesh. But, there's nothing worse than seeing a nice green zombie with a nice clean mouth. You got to put food coloring or something in there. Yeah, I mean, you got to do the whole package. So in saying all that, we look for people for our classes for when we do our shows here. Every time we put a meeting on, we're always looking for someone who specializes in a certain field. But again, if you are interested in doing this with us, let us know. Let me know. Again, I'm Keith Newsom. I'm with the board. I've been doing this, I don't know how long, over 20 years, and I enjoy it. Networking is great. I like us share amongst yourself. I mean, if you have stuff that you don't need, give it to somebody else. Help somebody else out. But we are our own best people. I mean, if we do our best to help each other out, we're going to go a long way. And all we do, I'll tell you, like Nick Wolf taught me. He said, "I want to teach you to be better than me, so you can teach someone to be better than you."
Let's have training day. Hey, when I was done, we tried that couple years ago. About a year, I tried to do something like this a couple years ago with Keith and all of them. Bring people in to have a one-stop training. So if that's something y'all still interested in, I'll still be more than happy to do it in July or something like that. I know it's a busy build time. But you know, it'd be good to maybe see your makeup artist. I'll be more than happy to put that shit, our stuff on again. Just last time we didn't have participation, I had to cancel it, and it hurt because we put a lot of work into it, but literally we only had about 5 or 6 people, and we'd actually opened it up to a lot of people. So if that's something y'all are interested in, I'm not trying to, you know, hope you don't mind me speaking up, but you know, this is something that, like I said, we did a lot of discussing on. I'll be more than happy to host it. It don't bother me at all.
Thank you, Fred. I know it's a fantastic space too, but I think what may also be helpful is, you know, reach out to Keith and let him know what it is that you're trying to learn, or what kind of training are you looking for? You know, what would be helpful to you? I mean, is it acting? Is it makeup? Or is it, you know, something more technical?
If we don't know it, we'll turn on somebody.
We can find someone that does. Hi, Kristen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm an outside attraction on Terrifying Meteor.
Oh.
Nice.
So I was just kind of, I don't know how many of you actually do the market stuff, so that's all I can do. But if you ever need help with that, I'll offer to teach people, because half the time I'm not there all the time for the season.
You teach people how to
Tarot card reading.
read tarot cards. Yeah. So if if anybody's looking to learn how to do that and everything, they can contact you.
Yeah, so if you were wanting to add your window, so the hydro, just brought me back. I've only done that for about 2 years. And when I work as a nurse.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm not always there, able to be there every single day, so there was not enough time to do. And I didn't know if other places had that same problem.
So if anybody's interested in that, they can feel free to come up to you and get more details. Perfect. See, Kristen, if you're interested in learning about tarot reading, because having additional stuff like that, I know haunts have had magicians, have tarot readers, a lot of fun stuff to do while you're waiting in line or anything else. So awesome. Thank you for offering that. Okay. As far as future meetings go, I know that I've spoken with Hoorah. We may need to nail down a date for a future meeting, but Hanahura in Marion, Ohio is a location that we've been looking at. I'm staring at you, Tyler.
I was actually going to talk to you about it later on.
And Akron is also expressed interest in hosting. So we don't have a date right now as far as the next meeting goes, but we'll just nail down a few. We will nail down a date for a future meeting. We're trying to make the meetings not be too frequent, but they are, you know, also not conflicting with major events. Speaking of major events, Transworld in St. Louis, February 27th through March 2nd. That's the big trade show. If any of you haven't been there before, I do suggest going at least once. A lot of fun. East Coast Hunters Convention, Philadelphia, April 24th through the 27th. And the Midwest Hunters Convention in Chicago, June 6th through the 8th. These are great shows, conventions where you get to go. They have a lot of education, a lot of great vendors for you to purchase from. So those will be some upcoming events that you may want to look into. I am running a little behind, and I'm sorry. So now I wanted to open up if anybody wanted to share an update from their haunt season, or if anybody had a particular question or a concern regarding haunting.
Before we get out of talking about meetings and everything, we do a haunter check-in once a month. We have not started it November or December. And since we had a actual meeting here, we weren't going to do it this month. But I've had people that have flat out said, are we going to do it? And yes, we are going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and do the hunter check-ins once again. I know there's a lot of people that like to do it every single month. There's some of them that only like to do it every 3 months. It's an opportunity for you guys to connect, you guys to talk, for you guys to get together. We do it on Zoom. And the reason that we do it on Zoom is we do have a doorman. And some of the conversations, if we don't have a doorman, actually watching who comes in and making sure that we kind of know who this is. We've got some really interesting people that have jumped on and said hello to us. And I've apologized to everybody that if you know it, you know it. But I'm just saying it's been a really good thing of getting people to talk about how they could do a little better. What's your honest opinion? Is this clown far enough away from the bathroom to run the chainsaw? I mean, these are small conversations that we've had, and we're going to go ahead and start that back up in February, and it will probably be the third Monday of the month of February. So we'll go ahead and we'll post it on our Facebook group. If you guys have any questions, get a hold of me, or we'll go ahead and do this.
Yes. Speaking of chainsaws and bathrooms, where's the bathroom?
Yeah. So the bathroom, if you go down the hallway to the food court, turn right. Yeah, that way. You turn right, you should see a green sign that says like offices and restroom.
And there will not be a clown with a chainsaw.
Yes.
She wants to tell you about a haunt swap that they're having, so.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Connie with Forsaken Forest. So this April, after we get through some craziness of trade shows, Forsaken Forest is hosting a buy, sell, trade haunt swap event, which kind of touches on sharing with each other. So we're inviting any haunt in the tri-state to come set up with their old gear, used gear, new gear, and buy, sell, and trade with each other, whether you made it or you used it. Someone's trash is the next person's treasure. So more details will come about that, and it'll be on the Forsaken Forest page. So I look forward to seeing a lot of you.
I just want to say a personal thank you to Forsaken Forest, who we've adopted into Ohio. I don't care if your address is Indiana, you're an Ohio haunt. At the end of the award ceremony at your haunt, there was about 200 leftover pumpkins, and we got to create so much carnage. It was so good. Oh, it was so good. We literally got to destroy all the pumpkins. It was so good. Some would say we smashed them. That's awesome. Anything else for the good of the order?
I was at Max's wedding, and I've still never seen him as happy as when he got to smash all the.
Don't say that. Don't say that. But before we move on to the speaker, is there any? Hold on.
Real quick question. So with the haunting maintenance, we have agritourism insurance through Nationwide Insurance. We have tried multiple times to find different places that covers insurance. Guys, anybody have other suggestions besides Nationwide? I'm just trying to.
So you have Nationwide for insurance because you run a trail on a haunted maze on a farm, and you're looking for other insurance suggestions. So our friends from J&J Field of Screens are looking for insurance suggestions. So if anybody has an offering of one, please find them to talk to them because they'd like to look into the market a bit more. Anything else for the good of the order? Awesome. Well, this individual that's coming up, Adam, is with the Haunted Hoorah. And the Haunted Hoorah is one of my favorite stories of a haunt that unfortunately had to close its doors due to eminent domain a few years ago. But that was not the end of their story. They have come back and reopened in Marion, Ohio, and have been kicking ass since then. And so we have Adam here today to speak about sets, design, and I really appreciate him being here from Haunted Hoorah.
I apologize to the tech folk over here. I hate mics. So if you can't hear me, just give me a thumbs up and I'll talk louder. My name's Adam, as Max said. I have a history or a background in tech theater. It's what I studied. So
Shut up, he's talking.
cool. Okay, I'll wait until the voices are done with you. I have a history and background in tech theater and design, props building for theater productions. Kind of an easy slide over. Sorry. I can act as a character and scream at anybody. Standing in front of all of you can make me have a panic attack. It's okay. We'll move on. I remember as a child, Halloween, the house around the corner was the first one I remember. The woman did the cauldron, the witch, and that guy in the werewolf mask that stood really still and then scared the living bejesus out of everyone. First time I remember doing a haunt. Anything Halloween. Every year. Got us every year. As we got older, my uncle took me to our first haunted house, and I remember all of the fun with that. As Max said, we started out in one location and ended up having to move to another. Our owners are a husband-wife team. She is a high school teacher, and our haunt originated out of a homecoming tradition of decorate the hallways. The kids, 1 year for a class, decorated as a haunted house. Hey, if they can do it, we can do it. Why not? So they came up with that plan. They went and they had a beautiful house built in the 1850s, 1860s. We were right next to an elementary school. What a perfect location to place a haunted house. Probably not. But hey, their plan was what scared you? That's what their question was when they started out and got started. They used as inspiration the movies Alien and later Resident Evil. And the answer was the government. Keep in mind, this was in 2014. Nothing's really changed. What he wanted was big trucks. I want a military truck, which was perfect because our parking lot was a quarter mile away from us through a village. Not necessarily the most ideal way to get you from point A to point B, a walk through the village of Ashley. If you've been to Ashley, it's a little scary, but not quite the scary we were looking for. So the answer was transport you through buses. So we went ahead and we created buses that are part of our mobile scenes. The house we had was beautiful, 2 stories, already looked scary and all dilapidated when we took it over. Too bad we lost it in an eminent domain. It's now a bus turnaround. They paved over paradise. Thank you, Jimmy Buffett. We were dark for a few years, and in 2020, they found a property in Marion that's 10 acres and 15,000 square feet of, 15,000 square feet of beautiful industrial complex. No one's going to want it. It is in the worst possible location for anything other than what we're doing. It has northeast or northwest and south or east, west, and north, south tracks sitting right next to us. Nobody's going to want to develop it. It's also old industrial land. Perfect. It also lends great credence to what's going on inside. So what we did was we took everything that we learned from our previous location, the scenes that were working for us, the doctor's lab, our gas chambers that we use, our incinerators that we built, all of those different things, and we pulled those into the location. One of the questions that we had when we went through was the list of scenes and how are you going to invite that in and develop a cohesive movement through so that it felt like you were in a real building, not just a scene-to-scene location. So we weren't going to bounce from an inside field to an outside. So what we did is we brought you in and we had you go through the feeling of being recruited. You signed up in a recruitment office, you moved into medical, then into an optometrist, into Barber. Again, we use a military theme if you weren't aware of us. It's kind of our overarching story. Our story is our guiding principle. It's the same thing we use all the way through. So as we move through, our story continues to develop. You're going to go and see if you have what it takes to be a super soldier in our doctor's program, because ultimately that is one of the most messed up things we could figure out is screwed up human doing screwed up things to other humans. Sorry. So as we laid out our building, we followed it through. The early half of our haunt now has kind of a general intake and general feel of you're going through training. At about our halfway point, or where some haunts do a regroup or a requeue, we requeue you and get ready to take you down into our underground facility. One of our requests in our list of things that was asked for was an elevator. So we take you through a bunker and take you down 71 stories underground in Marion. Those of you who are, as we go through, Marion has a relatively low water table, so 71 stories down, I guess we'd be swimming. We really thought about it pretty hard, but we take you down. Our elevator, we use a single in, single out door. You come in and out the same door. The trick that we had to figure out was how are we going to move this, because we chose to build our own elevator. So it's an in-house built motion platform. At that time, our owner's son was finishing up his welding degree, and so decided that we are going to weld this thing on top of it being a military box that we obtained. So it weighs more than it ever should. So as you go through and we move in, we're moving all of that around, we're bringing you in. That's where we started realizing that we had a lot of fun we could play. So now you're moving in, we've developed a couple of two-story scenes, and everything moves through in a logical fashion. So as you're down into our security scene, our security room in our two-story octagons cell block, you go in and everyone gets to live out their favorite movie, or at least our haunt owners, one of our haunt owners' favorite movies, Shawshank Redemption. You have to leave through the wall and into a wet wall. There's just no pipe you have to crawl through, though that area does smell a little bit of raw sewage. So those are logical transfer points. As we're doing things like that, we transfer you from one area to another so that there's not a necessarily awkward break in the reality. You end up in our weapons area. So we have nuclear weapons and storage, along with bio weapons and some of those things. So we've kind of layered everything back and forth. Some of the other things that we've done is, since the building was so old, we reused a lot of the area that we had to take off the building. There was older additions that weren't put on the building correctly. So our restroom scene, when you get to it, actually was the restroom that was put into that building roughly in the 50s. So the old wooden dividers, the bathroom stalls, all of that is actually in our haunt that had to be removed, is now part of our haunt. As we were laying it all out, we developed a safety corridor system that needed to remain in place. So along the outside perimeter is a 4 to 6 foot walkway that has to stay in place, that we've kept in place, along with feeder corridors that feed into that. One of the things that we were told with our municipality from Marion is there are no inspections here.
Yeah.
Those of you who have done this know where we went wrong at that statement. We live in Morrow County, where there literally are no inspections. Marion meant to say we don't do inspections. So for the first 16 months of our build in 2020 and leading into 2021, we were not doing what we should have been, because we were led down the wrong path. Luckily, and this is where it sounds weird, our fire department was our biggest champion. Our fire department, our fire inspector, the fire chief, as we were talking with them to double check on a few things, said, "What are you talking about? You have no inspection signed up." No. And he got us back on board. So, or back on track and back with the state, because everything in Marion County is deferred to the state. That was a fun one to find out. So we are blessed with a very large 10-acre property, some of which you can't see from our queue area. One of the things that we heard and listened to our guests was, we see a group of 24 leave and get on that bus. They never come back. Where are they? Our queue actors are sadistic, our owner is mean, and would ask everybody in line for their keys so we can move their cars later. We did the same thing when we laid out this haunt. We have the exit passing right by our queue line and hiding them as they go. What we did do is we did a post-credit scene this time. We have our merchandise booth way at the back corner of our property after one of our outdoor scenes. As you finish it up, we go ahead and we give you one last scare. We send you through a cemetery. I've always wanted to build a cemetery at a haunt. Why not? A military theme, it's a little hard to hide a cemetery in the middle of it. So after that, merchandise booth hiding in the middle, or at the end, we went ahead and put one out there. We have a couple actors out there that are dressed up as caretakers and a living statue because it was a way of giving one last scare after you thought everything was safe. And our merchandise person enjoys listening to everyone kind of come on down, feel that they're safe, and then bam, they are not. The shrieks that they get to hear, it's also quite interesting that they are about 10 feet from the queue line at that point, and very few people notice what's going on around them. So, I'm sorry, I've lost all of my notes, or all of where I was. Yay! Sorry. When we moved over to our new location, again, we did feel that we needed to bring over some of the things. Some of those things were, where did you go? Where are you taking them? That load onto the bus we kept. We could have easily brought them into the building at the close spot to where we have our queue. We actually kept our transport. So we take you onto or load you onto one of our transport vehicles. At first we thought a 5.5-ton military truck was the way to go. The number one comment we heard in our first 2 seasons we were open in Marion was, bring back the bus, bring back the bus, bring back the bus. So we brought it back, and it seems to be quite popular that our buses are what is requested. Drop you off, and we have one of the meanest individuals that welcomes you off of the bus. She can, with her words, strip paint off of the walls. Dawn over there. She welcomes, she gets more comments from everybody about just being mean. She had somebody cry about a plug-in jacket and quite a few other things. Once you're done, you get a final warning. We issue you flashlights now. We've pulled most of our lighting out of our haunt to help with building a feel of it. Our facility has gone into a disaster mode. There was a fight between our 2 lead characters, Nurse Gertrude, the hook-handed menace, and our doctor. She is trying to take over control. So you're being sent in to do some recon, which is why our guests are coming in. They're actually entering in to do a reconnaissance mission to help the U.S. government establish what the hell is going on in this underground facility, or does it need, is there anything left? Should we nuke it? They're given a time frame, which is approximately the amount of time it takes for them to complete it. At the end of that, unfortunately, we are going to clean the building using a weapon that they have encountered earlier on in the building. Once we've taken them underground, we do pull them back up using another motion platform and another motion platform with video, which leads us to our exteriors and a post-apocalyptic scene that we've done. So, sorry. I'm terrible as guest speaker. No, sorry. Wow, okay, sorry. Just feeling. Okay, great. Yeah, woo! Sorry, we have a lot of open scenes that we use, larger spaces that we actually feel that were specifically designed and filled in with larger props. Our large exterior scene that we have is, we call our apocalyptic scene, is actually got full-size vehicles in it. It's large enough, it's about an acre in itself. It has 5 or 6 full-size vehicles, including a full-sized fire truck, a pump truck, full-size ambulance. We have enough space to actually have several of our groups or our guest groups in there at a time, with our actors running around and not encountering each other. It's one of those. Yeah. That's off on the next. That's on down the next. Yeah, we have a Cessna plane that landed haphazardly over in the way. All those areas have been developed around that. We continue to have more space that we can open up and use. This year we opened, or last season we opened up a walk through the woods. The facility we had is about 120 years old. In that time, it's been abandoned for a little while, and amazingly, the growth that we had somehow found a way to take hold in the approximately 6 inches of dirt on top of solid concrete. So we took them through the urban wooded section of our property after they offloaded the bus, and we're going to continue to develop those areas and kind of build a little bit more on that. At this point, I'm going to just kind of ask, do you have any questions or anything on how? Yes, next.
So, like where they're waiting in line,
Yes,
they get bussed off
Yes.
to somewhere else.
we take
And then the
you.
people at the front don't even see
Yes,
them exit.
we actually take you through our 15,000 square foot building from one end to the other and back, and then out the backside, and you will actually pass around the queue line and filter out on the far side. When we take you away, we load you into a bus in groups of 24, but as you filter out, we filter you into groups of 6 to 8 approximately to go through the attraction. So you're filtering out in groups of approximately 6 to 10 or so as you're coming back out the end side. So it's a little easier to hide that number as they're filtering than it is to hide 24 walk across. Yes.
How much time do you put between groups? Is it kind of time?
That is interesting. I am actually way at the other end of the building, so I don't know. I get about 90 seconds.
I'm the person who makes that decision.
Yeah.
How long do I want to yell at you? Usually when 24 people come off the bus, we are completely interactive. I line you up, I separate you, it's my choice. You no longer have a choice. I think I'm a delight. If you want to go with your entire family, all 16 of your loved ones, too bad. So usually in between, it takes me approximately 3 minutes to yell at your group. Collectively, I'm 12 minutes. I can do it in 7, depending on how much time we have between, how busy we are, really. So you're looking at how long it takes me to do it, and my next counterpart, she's just as equally mean, she is a delight. It takes her approximately 2.5 minutes to do hers. So that's how much time you have in between.
I know most groups, when they reach me, it's about a minute, 2 minutes
they
apart.
can be anywhere between 30 seconds to 2 minutes apart once you get into the haunt. Because depending on, and our actors are really good at isolating, not with them, they're really good at isolating. We have a ton of people. But
prior to actually getting to you, there is, before they get on the bus, they have a really unique area where you have the people standing in line, and then a drill sergeant will line you up, and then he goes through, he will make some of your people do jumping jacks, push-ups. You go through you have to make sure that you're, not injected. And then you get into another area, and then you get onto the bus. So there is a few minutes between each group prior to getting on the bus. Then the bus ride's actually, I don't even know how long it is because it's creepy. It's in the dark. And then there's a very large nurse with a sign on her arm or whatever she's carrying at that point, who's over 6 feet tall, crawling over you in the dark with lights in the bus. And then you get off the bus, walk through the woods, and then they finally get to me. It's actually one of the most unique haunts out there. And Adam's selling himself short here. He has built 90% of all of the. Yes, shut up. You're just say yes.
Yes.
Like 90% of the props in there, everything is actually like they don't go to transport and buy props. They build them all, and it is a very unique and it's not like any haunt that I've ever been through, and I've been through a lot. I also used to work there. That's kind of how I know them. But Adam is what he builds is insanely creative. It is and very detailed. The things he builds are just insane
And not found anywhere else.
and not found anywhere else. All 100% unique. They do have this post-apocalyptic. You get into a what do you
call that? A pod, a escape pod, you sit down and a nuclear explosion happens, you're in there, you're shaking this, that, and the other thing. You get out and now you're outside and the whole world's gone to hell. So it's literally, and they built that. So it's a very, very incredible.
We have walls that move.
Yeah.
And that's Adam. That's all Adam.
It's all
It
him.
is.
Sorry, I'm gonna pause the love fest over there. Thank you, Mia. There's a question in the back that wants to. It varies wildly. Right now, we're still in kind of our rebuilding phase. We were down for a very long period of time. We were down for about 3 years after we moved, which is killer for the haunt once it moves. So we're seeing about 1,000 to 1,200 a night if we're lucky in peak right now. Sorry, Mia, didn't.
No, you're good. I'm just trying to.
No, don't.
Yay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
That's all I do. I sell myself short. Yes.
Do you build anything to where like an actor can be pretty rough with it, like hit pads or?
We try. And I promise. Every time I think I solved for the actor being rough, they surprise me. I don't know how they kicked through the 3/4 plywood in a night in under an hour. And then I don't know why that broke that way is my favorite line.
Or behind plexi, they break through that to get to fake weapons.
We're training.
They we actually have safety glass windows that we obtained. They have cracked and broke those. I don't know how I broke that with a wooden handle. That was like that when I got here. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah.
Do we have any other questions for Adam? Yes, Nick.
I remember when you guys closed down in Ashley, how did you guys keep your audience engaged through that move and rebuild process?
Honestly, we really didn't do that very well because we weren't really sure what was going to happen. We kept looking for property to move to. And it honestly, when we found our property that we're at now, it was right at the point that they were ready to pull it and just call it a day and be done. This property had been on the market for a little while, and one of their brother-in-laws had gone, "This would be perfect for you." And so that when that happened, we got ready. Sadly, they signed paperwork to close on that property right around this time in 2020. We all know the joys of 2020 and that fun year. We started moving things in and prepping the building. When we took it over, it had in most of the spaces about 3 to 4 feet worth of junk, trash, and just general debris that had to be removed. We had to, some fun removing. So about the time we got all that cleared, the pandemic had kicked into full gear, and we realized that that would not be our year to reopen. So we worked pretty diligent to get that going, or get going during that close down time. Yes.
When we opened our county to do inspections, so they sent us over to our county does inspections through many counties. Did you have to deal with Richmond County?
We did not. We got the joy of dealing directly with the state of Ohio, which we did that with the shortage of inspectors, the joy of coming off of pandemic restrictions and everything else, on top of being behind the 8 ball on it all. So we were dealing with chip shortages at that point for the fire system. We were dealing with the inflated cost of copper for finishing wiring. The building itself, when we took it over, had been stripped 3 different times. And so while all of the conduit was in place for running wire, there was not an inch of copper anywhere from the electrical box, the main electrical breaker, from distribution into the building anywhere. So that all had to be run. It was a very fun time to be trying, on top of the constantly changing prices of lumber. So it got really exciting.
Not to mention, you had to run an entire water line to just sit for.
That was later.
Okay.
That was super fun later. And the joys of municipal water systems.
If anyone has like a set question or technical question, are you available and how can they best reach you?
You're more than willing to answer what I can. You can reach out to us or to me through Facebook. You can find me at Adam Geese. Or you can set it up. Or you can reach out to Nikki. She can swing through.
GIE.
Because I've got to be difficult.
SZ.
Yes, SZ. Yeah. Or just send a message to the Hanahura at gmail.com. I check all of that too.
Thank you so much for sharing today, Adam. So it is about time for the haunt tour. So the 50-50 payout is $119 right now. So I really appreciate your guys' participation in that. There's still time to get some tickets or some raffle tickets here. And I'm going to give this over to Scott to speak right before you do the haunt tour.
Okay, so that sounded really amazing. I hope that I get a chance at some point to go see the Hangra. Sounds like they have some really cool themes. Planes and vehicles. I mean, I would love to have that sort of thing and put that right in the space, but I don't know how I would do that. But one thing I want to mention here, we're going to take you first to the Scare Center, which is our little, our space where we get ready for the haunt, so you can kind of see that. And then one thing to keep in mind is that we have a facade that's built out here, during the haunt. This whole area becomes our queue line. And so a lot of those items are actually stored inside the haunt currently because we just don't have extra space. We have storage out in the back. But so contrary to like 10 acres and all that sort of stuff, this, if you have not been through Distracted, it is a tight fit. And, we do make you uncomfortable. We use every inch of every space that we have. But if you see something that seems a little odd, like why is there just a random door there? Well, it might have been part of the set, or it might just be because we didn't have anywhere else to put it right now. So we waited. Typically, we probably would have at least 6 or 7 rooms tore up at this point, and we'd be in the midst of like redoing them. But we waited for you guys because we really want you to see what we had. So hope you enjoy it. And I guess we could just start lining up. We're going to enter over there. So like I said, we're going to break you up into the smaller groups, and we'll just go from there. So
follow Scott. There's also still plenty of pizza. If anybody wants more pizza, visit the raffle tables and be respectful, be good guests in the haunt, and enjoy Distracted. Well, you can have more now.
Is it still live? All right. Thank you so much. Julianne, sorry that you couldn't make it. Thank you so much.